Welcome to Chatter Gang, a pod about the magic and the gathering. I'm Hope speaking, but you can call me Jose. And today, if you can't hear it in my voice already, I'm very excited for today. We have on, I know I say this is my favorite person. This is legitimately top 3 favorite person I know in the whole world that we have today. One of the funniest people I know. Basically, me as a woman. I think I can say that in full confidence. We have today Rachel in Exile. Rachel, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm smiling from ear to ear with that lovely introduction. You flatter me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do mean it when I say you're one of my favorite people. This has been a long time in the making. As a little peek behind the curtain, Rachel and I, for months, have talked about maybe doing a podcast, and now I finally get to have her on this one. So I'm very excited.
I am so, so stoked. I had the pleasure of listening to the first episode while I was at work. Loved it. Amazing. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Thank you. Thank you. That was all Jace. So I'll just Jason. I was just there, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'm
It's a
Rachel.
Jace.
Shout out to Jay's name right here, popping up on the screen. So, Rachel, start off with, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's kind of a bleary day here in California, but I woke up. I'm alive. I'm
Yeah,
breathing. I get to hang out with my friend,
yeah,
talk about whatever we're gonna talk about, and really there's no better day for me, if we're being honest. It's my favorite.
yeah. And it seems like things have finally, I don't want to say settled down, but you've had a lot going on in the past 2 months.
Oh my gosh. To say the least. I mean, we could probably have a mini series talking about the drama that happens at work, which you are very much privy to as somebody, my safe human, as we call it. I vent
Hmm.
to about the daily life, to have somebody to talk to outside of just your hobbies. It's
Hmm.
nice to have that connection there. But
Yeah.
yes, so much stuff has happened in the last 2 months, but I did go on vacation. That was great.
Two, two of them.
Yes, two. Atlanta, and then right into another one with my mom. We went on a cruise. It was fun. It was fun.
See, for those who don't know, I have thalassophobia, fear of open water, fear of deep water. So cruises are not something I can do. So when you told me you're on a cruise, I was very excited for you. And also in my mind, like that's a long time on water.
Yes, and I will be the first to admit that I am the type of person that will start entertaining very outlandish scenarios of like what could go wrong in a certain situation. So I did have to kind of reel that in. It started to get to me too of being like, we're really out here and where's the land?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to find an iceberg first, right? You want to find the land first.
If we find
That's the
Aang
whole.
in the iceberg, that'd
Oh,
be
you could.
okay.
Yeah, you know what? That was good timing for where we are today. We
See what I
record
did
these
there?
very far in advance. Yes, we record these very far in advance because life happens and you want to make sure that you're ahead. But yes, Aang and the iceberg. Were you excited for Avatar?
I was very, very excited for Avatar. I'm a person that, I think you should let people enjoy things. I'm not gonna say I'm a Universes Beyond stan. I'm not gonna say I'm a Universes Beyond hater either. I think everybody has a feeling of sorts towards Universes Beyond until there is an IP that they like. Think
Yeah.
Avatar, Final Fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, Fallout too. Those are definitely heavy hitters that people kind of have that attachment to. But
Mhm.
I felt like I grew up with Avatar, so that one was real nifty. The prices of the product, that's a whole nother ball of wax. So it's largely a buy singles set for me, if you
Yeah.
you feel me, but I like it. I like what I've seen. I like the art. I think it's really cool.
It is especially they're the expensive ones from the collector boosters, the one where it's literally just them in the pose, the action pose.
Oh,
Those cards
Lord,
are
yeah,
gorgeous.
yes. If I ever made it big, there would be signs. The
Dark ritual. I already know the dark ritual.
Yeah, Dark Ritual for sure. The mock sapphire, the
All the
the
moxes.
Zuko pose.
You would get all the moxes, and you'd get them all signed by Dan Frazier.
Yes, it's very
Actually,
possible.
you get two. You get two. You get one you get one to rock, one to stock, right? So like one that's clean and then one signed.
Just to flex on them,
Exactly, exactly.
need
You
duplicate
gotta,
power 9.
yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. You're like, oh, you got that sign that's gonna be worth less. Well, let me show you this one real quick.
So about that.
About that. So speaking of, I mean, we're going from like all the way from the beginning to all the way to where we are today. Where are you in that journey of Magic the Gathering? Where did you drop in that timeline?
So my intro to Magic, it was like trying to drive a manual transmission with somebody who was a really, really bad teacher. So I stalled out quite a few times. So this is the scene. For those that don't know, I have a military background, and it's kind of hard to make friends because your friends end up like moving away, or they go overseas, they go across the country. And so wherever you move to, you kind of just find a group of people that understand you and kind of relate to the lifestyle, and you just hang out with them. They may or may not even be great friends. It's just a thing that happens. And so we made friends when we first moved out to California, which was in 2019. And they were very into D&D and Magic at the time. And I got kind of punted off to the wife. Mind you, I was interested in those things, and I'm like, this seems kind of cool, but it was very much a boys' club at the time. And every time we would go over there Friday nights, they would be at the table playing Commander, literally screaming at each other. Like, to the point we would peek our heads over and be like, "Is everything okay in here?" And they're like, "Oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." And I'm like, "I don't think I want to play this game." Like, they're intense.
Mhm.
They're yelling, they're threatening to flip the table, someone's threatening to leave. And then one day they were like, "All right, we're going to teach you guys how to play." Everybody's drunk. That's the setting. So
Right.
I'm sitting there with this goblin deck, no idea how to play, and they're like, "Okay, this is the land base. You have to tap." It's a tale as old as time, really. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people can relate to that. And I'm like, "So what do I do? Like, I can fight this creature?" And they're like, "No, no, no, you just declare. You declare." And I'm like, "I declare what?" I'm declaring bankruptcy at this point.
Yeah, right.
Everybody, they're all drunk and screaming, and I was like, "Fuck this. I'm done. I'm gonna go back into the other room and watch Love is Blind, I guess." And I never came back to that because the experience was a little overwhelming.
Oh,
I didn't understand what was going on. Everybody was yelling. I can't even playing like board games. I am not a person that can just immediately comprehend complex board games or card games like right off the bat. Wish I could. Love that for everybody else. That is not me. I have a slow brain. So, Dakota, my husband, he kept playing and kind of growing his collection. And then when our friends kind of moved away, all of the magic stuff kind of got shuttered and it never got picked up again. That was until I saw an ad on Instagram for Bloomborough. I think a lot of people also can relate to that as well.
mhm.
I'm an individual that really likes fantasy, read wall. I read a lot of books. And so when I saw this, I was like, this is magic the cat. This is magic? These cute forest animals? Like you got to be joking. I was playing with that janky goblin deck with people yelling in both sides of my ears. Like what is this? So Dakota at the time was training for his new job in Chicago. I texted him right off the bat, screenshotted the ad, and I said, "Look, I'm gonna say this once, one time only. You buy me this whole set, I'll learn how to play Magic." At the time, I did not know that you don't really just like buy the whole set. You just
Yeah,
buy boxes or singles. I didn't know that. I thought, you could just master the set by buying boxes.
right.
He said, "Bet, one word, done." And that
That sounds
that
very
was
like
it.
him. That sounds like him.
So he did. He bought me some boxes. That was not a real sustainable thing for us going forward, buying several boxes to open up. But he tried to teach me. He was getting frustrated, I think, teaching me. So the prof taught me a lot. I watched a lot of the Command Zone and then kind of facing my fears also and just going to the LGS, which is not
Mhm.
something I do. I'm a creature of habit. I don't really do new things. Also love that for other people, but I dropped in about that time and I started getting better at it and I started beating him. And we started playing like some of his old standard decks and then he absolutely decimated me with one of his decks and I think that really started my path on becoming a villain
I
or at
love a
least a
villain watcher.
mild villain.
Yeah, that's fair. Starting out, you got to start out.
Everybody has some kind of devastating loss that paved the way, or at least, every loss is a learning moment, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I think that, well, I'm knowing Dakota the way I know him, obviously that makes sense. And knowing what you've told me about the LGSs, that also makes sense. So all of this tracks.
Yes.
So as it comes to content creation, like obviously you do the magic thing now, but that's not exactly where you started.
That is true. That is true. I have to admit that I was a very, very late TikTok adopter and I never really aspired to put myself out there partly because I'm very much an introverted kind of private person. I spent a lot of my time growing up like just reading books and playing games and not having a ton of people in my immediate circle to relate to or that kind of liked the same things that I did. So a lot of my posts were just like my personal life or funny things. I did now this I've never admitted this out loud, but I will do it. I did
Mhm.
run a meme page on Instagram that has since been, well, for quite some time, it has been disbanded. Dank meme shit posts that I enjoyed
Nice.
making them.
That's awesome. I had
I
no clue.
I lament for it getting shut down. The name had something to do with Harambe. So that's around the time frame. Well, yeah, that's around the time frame that I had made it and
That's
it
so
got shut
funny.
down.
That is that's I love this. I had no clue. I'm floored. I never knew this. But it makes sense with your humor
I love
because
making memes.
you love making memes. You love just being unabashedly yourself. You love just saying whatever comes up to your mind that you think is funny and ends up being hilarious, obviously.
Sometimes it's at my own expense too. Like
Yeah,
I will definitely clown on myself.
yeah, I think that's what endears you to most people is that you're willing to do that unabashedly. That's what endeared you to me because I was just like, oh, cool, she's just like normal person but really funny.
I think that's the best compliment that anybody could give me is that I've made them laugh or I've made them feel seen in some way or that they feel like understood. But making people laugh is one of my most favorite things to do because, there's a part of me that wishes, like I wish the younger Rachel had somebody like current Rachel to
Yeah.
look up to or look after.
Yeah. Current Rachel's pretty awesome. I'm sure younger Rachel was pretty cool too, though.
She was weird. She was a little weird.
Yeah, current Rachel's weird.
This is true. I can't deny these allegations.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you're the. I mean, it's basically the same. It's just different weird. It's a different weird. Now you're Magic the Gathering weird.
I know. That was a plot twist. That was part of the character arc that I think nobody in my like personal life could have ever predicted.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I mean, and you're doing a really good job with it. Obviously, didn't start out doing the magic stuff, but then as you did the magic stuff, it hit really hard, pretty quick, from what I see.
I I was kind of surprised by that. I started posting like magic related things just on a whim. I had no intention of like really, really trying to make a name for myself at
Hmm.
all. I was just like, I'm gonna treat this like my old Instagram that I've had since like 2011 and just post the things that I like. And most all the people that followed me at the time were just people that I had known, or I was following like travel tips in San Francisco, stuff like that. And the first few ones like that I posted, I think one of the first ones that kind of took off, and I mean, it took off, I'm quoting, doing air quotes right now,
Hmm.
to me, when it got like over 1,000 views, I was like, oh my God, 1,000 people, like people who like this stuff. I was like showing Dakota. I was showing Dakota. I was like, oh my God, look, people think this is fun. Like people like this. And I remember, more people when people started following me, I was floored. I was like, am I likable? Am I cool? Like yeah, am I
Oh
like doing
yeah.
something good here? And I kind of have chased that, and just, if not chasing it, have just stoked the fire, trying to keep it alive. But above all, I feel like magic, TikTok, a lot of it has changed my life in such positive ways, like that I've met you, Shelby, a multitude of other people that I would have never met otherwise, that have become permanent fixtures in my life, to the point where I cannot imagine my life without them. It's
Mhm.
permanently changed and for the better, and it's given me so much more back than I could ever repay to others, if that makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. It makes it. I'm with you. I couldn't imagine all these people, especially you, not being in my life after starting playing Magic again. When I started playing Magic again, joining the content creation stuff, like these people do become fixtures in, just like you said, everyday life at that point. Where even if you're not talking to them, you're like, I hope they're doing well. Like I hope they're doing okay.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then,
Yeah, like, waking up, and there's been plenty of times where I've told you like, this has been a really hard week, and you make the time to like check in with me in the mornings and be like, "Hey, have a good day." Like during the big inspection, you were like, "You've done everything that you can do. You've worked so hard. Like whatever happens, it's going to be okay, and your work is going to speak for itself." And I think I told you, I was like, "I am going to hold on to that all day because I am so stressed out." And I did. And lo and behold, yes, you were correct. Everything was okay. I was freaking out. I wouldn't say for nothing, but I was
yeah,
freaking.
yeah, not that it wasn't valid, but that, that at least you did everything that you could in those moments to make sure that there wasn't a question about your work. I think that was the important part, was that you can only control what you can control, right? You can't control what other people can control. You can't control who comes in and does the inspection. You can't control almost anything other than what, the part that you did in your part. So
And it
I
all
think
it all worked out. It was
it worked out.
fine. That's
Yeah.
something too, like, just that mindset, I think, is important to have. Just, you should only spend a finite amount of time worrying about the things that are out of your control. Keyword being should, because people like us are
Hmm.
anxious people, and it's easier said than done. But
Yep. I
the
worry
the
that everyone hates me
reflection,
all the time, so I get it.
I do too. I mean, my gosh, after Atlanta, I was like, did I do too much? Was I doing too much? Was I starting to
Hmm.
annoy people? Was I trying to be too much of a comedian and started
Yeah.
acting cringy? I don't know. Nobody's ever said anything,
Yeah.
but that
Oh yeah.
little
Yeah.
nagging thought in your head, just,
No
it
one's ever
exists.
no one's ever said anything, but they haven't said anything the other way either. So that leaves room for interpretation.
It does. It does. The omission, the obfuscation
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yep. It leaves the brain wondering. But yes, you are correct. Should not dwell in worry as much as you possibly can.
And I think you gave an analogy one time about like a
Hmm.
leaf in the stream. And that too, I mean, I think that's another testament to just how influential and how significant the friendships that we make are, is because you and others too have shared like their life experiences or things that help them in tough times, and it may have been just a passing conversation, but it's something that has stuck with me.
Yeah, it's look at every situation that pops up as a leaf falling from a tree. You can either choose to grab that leaf and hold on to it, and that's your worry, that's your fear, that's, you know, you're holding on to it and holding on to it, or you can watch it go by, acknowledge its existence, allow it to hit the river and float away. It doesn't mean that you're saying it's never going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's not something that maybe you don't grab for a second and then decide to let go. It's just you don't keep it with you. You allow it to flow away naturally.
And that, folks, that is your free therapy. So subscribe to this podcast for more tips.
Yes, yeah, no, and go get real therapy. Don't you listen to this?
True, true. Highly recommend it as
Yeah,
someone who is in therapy myself. Yes,
yeah,
recommend
yes.
it.
Therapy's great. But as it comes to positives, how does it feel to know that Wizards of the Coast finally answered your Christmas wish from last year?
I wait, which one?
Lorwyn.
Oh, oh my, that video
Mm-hmm.
after the Aether Drift. I well, because I do have a few wishes from WotC
We'll talk
that.
about that at the end. We'll talk about that at the
Yes,
end.
I'm so excited. Everything that I've seen from the set, I'm really stoked for. And I also like try to make sure that I'm transparent with people and say like, you know what, I wasn't around playing in the original Lorwyn block. Like some of that stuff is foreign to me, but well, you know how like with the new sets when they do the Magic Story podcast, I love those. I listen to
Yeah.
those on the way to work because I also really really appreciate the story of magic, which was a big topic too on your last podcast that aired.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated that dialogue and discourse was resonated with me. But
She's not
um
paid to say these things, by the way, everyone. I just want you to know
I'm
she is not.
no, none of this was rehearsed. Not at all. Yeah, I'm really excited. I was hoping that we would get Lorwyn this year, but
Yeah.
I mean, we
Which we were
got
supposed
too
to,
much sets
but
this year. Like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, I feel I was getting fatigued trying to keep up with it, but
Spoiler season as always, so it has been really hard.
it's never ending.
Yeah.
It's never ending, which is like it's exciting at the same time. I think the criticism of all of it is very valid
Mhm.
because if you're not seeing things, this can be a very expensive hobby to keep up with.
Yeah.
I appreciate Commander for that, having needing only one copy of the card, unless you're me, and then try to put copies of that same card in other decks too.
Yeah.
But
I
long
love it.
story short, I am very, very excited for Lorwyn. And if this is in reference to that one video I made about Aether Drift, when,
No, what do you mean?
well, everybody can go watch it if they want. But I was my flabbers were gasted when I was like, wait, so we could have had Lorwyn, but we're getting the race car set, which you also we have talked at length about Aether Drift, and you two have reminded me like, hey, you know what? Same thing happened with Karlov Manor. Sometimes takes time. Some cards that weren't worth anything come back around. Stock
Yeah.
up is I think
Stock up is
that's
still a really good card.
yeah, 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 yeah. And
Pay three,
while
look.
I regret
Is it pay
a
three, look at
little,
the top five cards? I
I think
think
so. I can't
top seven,
remember.
something like that. But go on.
I ended up selling a couple. Sold most of them.
I
I
don't
I
blame
need
you.
I needed to. I
Yeah.
had I had to.
Yes.
For financial reasons, I needed to. It's grown on me a little bit. Like I said in the beginning, I think that one of the best things about Magic is that there is something for everybody. So there were a lot of
Yeah.
people that were like really excited about Aether Drift. I don't run or play vehicles quite a lot, and in fact, I wasn't crewing correctly when I was learning how to play Magic. in the Bello deck. We're not gonna blame Dakota for that. He's culpable. He was there, but Magic had changed so much
Yeah.
from like 2020 to the time I came back into it. Things were different. But
Yeah.
what about you though? Are you excited for the the sets that we're looking at, the prospects of 2026?
So what I will say, and thank you so much for asking, I appreciate it, is I love Lorwyn. I'm excited for Lorwyn. I've been around playing Magic for a while, and so like I was still I can't when I even when I came back into Magic, we were still in blocks, so like old. But if people want to say that the block system isn't something that's viable anymore, I'm fine with that. That's cool. What I will say is I wish there were less sets. I'm probably excited for half of the sets next year. So like Lorwyn, Strixhaven, superheroes, Hobbit's cool. Like the fact that there's going to be another One Ring is kind of as a wrestling fan who existed during the
It,
time when The Rock versus John Cena was once in a lifetime, and then they did it the next year. I went to WrestleMania, so it was twice in a lifetime. I'm a little annoyed to say the least, but
yes.
yeah, that's where I'm at.
Understandable. Understandable. I feel largely the same. I think like I understand the critique for a lot of people that say Magic has kind of fizzled for them or they don't like the direction that things are going.
Yeah.
I understand it. I don't feel that way. I'm very much a person that if it's in my means, I like to go get packs and open them. I find it to be very fun. Yes, I also think cracking packs is gambling.
100%.
That's probably a story for another day, but I think a lot of people can understand the mindset behind that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot coming out next year. I'm feeling the same though. I'm excited for Lorwyn, Strixhaven. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm like super optimistic about Star Trek, but I am a very big Star Trek fan myself. Didn't have like full cable when I was growing up, so when I was younger, I watched a lot of Star Trek because that's what my dad watched, and we had limited channels. I also watched the Brady Bunch. I don't know if I told you that, but I've
Mm.
basically been 80 years old since I was 6 years old.
Oh, I feel it. No, I'm same, so I get that. I didn't have cable growing up either, so it was a lot of if it wasn't on ABC or NBC or like UPN or something, yeah, I wasn't watching
And that's all she wrote on
it.
there. Yeah. Yeah,
Also,
that's
Murder She Wrote. I actually watch a lot of Murder She Wrote.
oh my gosh, and the soap operas. I mean,
Oh
I'm
my god.
slightly getting off on a tangent, but my
Mhm.
grandmother
Please
always
do.
watched The Bold and the Beautiful
Yep.
and MASH
Yep. My
quite
my grandma didn't
often.
watch MASH. My grandma watched West Wing though. I don't know why
Oh,
West Wing, but she watched West Wing. But she did watch the soap operas. You know, we do the when we were home from school because my grandma was a teacher. So we were home from school. We did the Price is Right thing and the news or the soap opera that came on after, and then bounce around channels. So I ended up watching either a lot of Matlock, a lot of Murder She Wrote when my grandma was watching TV as well, a lot of soap operas. So I feel that.
we were just little old folks at such an early age. I
Hmm.
with The Price is Right, I used to like dream of spinning that wheel. Something about it
Hmm.
seemed so satisfying to me, although like I would never get on a game show like that. I would panic and forget my own name, which is a funny story. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I used to be so scared of public speaking, which was weird because I joined the military and was terrified of most social interaction to where I would have to like do briefings and presentations and I would be like, "Good morning. My name is," and I would stop and look at the slide to confirm my name and then I would say my name. Like
I did.
so I don't think The Price is Right is in the cards for me or anything like that, but I was also exposed to like Jerry Springer and the
Hmm.
Montel show and stuff like
Oh
that,
my
which I
god, I forgot about the
wasn't
Montel show
supposed to
for a
be
minute.
not supposed to be watching that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I did. Nope, Maury Povich. Yeah, yeah, all those. Gosh,
So
memories unlocked.
trashy. I
Yeah,
worked
it
with
really was.
somebody, she's retired now. She'll
Hmm.
never hear this podcast, but in the event that she does, I'm not going to say her name. But her, she and her husband at the time were on the Steve Wilkos show. I thought she was lying because I was like, "There's no way you've been in the Air Force this whole time. Like, I don't think you're allowed to do that." She had the episode on a CD-ROM and was like, "Watch this." And I was like, "This feels like a trap. Is this like a security test that you're gonna give
Yeah.
me something? I'm not supposed to put this in the computer?" She's like, "No, just put it in the computer." So I was like, "Let's put it in your computer." We did. Sure enough, she was not lying. They were on that show. I cannot find the episode anymore. I don't want to reach out to her and ask for it, but crazy.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that the Steve Wilkos show was around that long. I used to watch that show too. So crazy, crazy work. It's crazy work. I don't even know how to
I'll have to tell
after.
you what the episode was about offline because I
Yeah,
will not say it on here. It's way too crazy, but
yeah. It's Steve Wilkos. It's definitely crazy. I can understand that. I'm in such disbelief. You do not seem you did not seem like the type of person who would be nervous about public speaking like that. I think that's the thing that I'm most surprised by in all of this.
I was petrified about it. And I think a lot of it too was I just was very, very reclusive and kept to myself when I was younger.
Mhm.
I really wasn't allowed to spend the night at people's houses. So I don't want to say that I had no friends. I just only had a few friends that my parents were comfortable to let me hang out with. So my social development wasn't like entirely stunted. Some of it was that I just genuinely didn't want to really go anywhere. I was very much a homebody. Spoiler alert, I still kind of am, but I will say I think that that's one thing the military gave me that I'm very grateful for was like the forced exposure into stuff because I'm not even sure where it all stemmed from, but I used to get so apprehensive about having to like call people on the phone, even like calling my family, like that was one thing, but if I had to call like a business or something, call the bank, I
Mhm.
would start like mentally rehearsing the conversation before I had even made the call.
No.
I don't know where all of that came from. I
I
don't
think
think
that's
we've
super
cracked that
relatable.
nut in therapy yet, but
I think that's super relatable. And there's a lot of people who like they don't even want to make the call to the pizza place, right? Like I
yes,
think that's true. I think that's definitely relatable.
there was a meme that I had seen several years ago that was like my ancestors watching me DoorDash 2 tacos instead of getting up and going to buy it or something like that. I was like, "Oh my
Very
that's
relatable for
th
real.
that's me. Sometimes I like to DoorDash. As you know, I've had a
Yep.
few little whoopsie
All
daisies
right, come on. All right. I mean, since you brought it up, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but since you brought it up,
since I brought it up of my own volition, and
yes,
Jose has had to remind me of this
mul-
too, to not repeat the same
multiple,
mistake, but there
multiple.
was it wasn't my birthday, but I think it was around it.
It was around your
I
birthday. Yeah.
I was starving and I was craving multiple different things, and so I ended up door dashing myself, like, a mango nada, like, fruit, tacos,
Elote, I'm pretty sure.
elote, yes. I And our running joke now is that I door dashed 3 restaurants worth of food, which is entirely accurate because I totally did, and I could not eat all of that food.
Yeah. And it
I
wasn't just like one thing from each restaurant. It was like a it was like a family-sized meal of food altogether.
They gave me so much silverware that they must have thought that I was feeding a family of 6, and it was just me.
Yeah. And
It is a little shameful.
I remember you texting me the next day like, "Oh my god, there's so much food in my fridge."
Then there was
I'm
no
like,
way for me
"Yeah."
to eat all of it, and, some of it got all soggy. It
Mhm.
didn't keep very well.
Yeah, so just, if you want multiple different foods, it's cool. Just like, yeah, make sure that make sure you don't order, 5 meals worth of food for one person because it will go bad if you can't eat it all at one time.
It was way, way too much. I feel bad for those drivers.
For real.
Well,
I hope you tip them
they got
well, yeah.
paid, so maybe
Yeah, so I
not,
hope you
but
tip them really well, yeah. I'm sure it's fine. I mean, they probably dealt with worse.
for
Hopefully those
sure.
places weren't too far away from each other at least.
I can't even remember.
That's so funny. I'm gonna do a slight pivot, because I don't know why. Away from your shame of ordering too much food on accident, into your love of gaming.
Oh, yes.
So one of your more popular TikTok series has been your video games that shaped you.
Yes.
And as we talked about a little bit before the podcast, one of the video games that definitely hugely shaped you was BioShock.
100%.
So can you talk about why that is, and maybe a few other games that also shaped you to who you are today?
I can definitely do that. Yes, that was one of the videos that surprisingly took off. Also, just something that I had posted. I saw other people doing it, and I was like, I want to do mine. I think I have some good ones on there. BioShock in particular, that one has a really sentimental place for me. If anybody's followed me on my other Instagram and even like my TikTok before I kind of rebranded it, it kind of pivoted, if you will, to tailor the focus a little less off of me recording Mazda Miatas that had coffins on them, which
And
did happen.
poop
Um,
jokes.
and poop jokes. My cat pooping on the floor. My handle has always been Would You Kindly. Even on Discord, I think it's Would You Kindly as well. And so when I was now see, I don't remember what year it came out, but my my ex at the time was working at a pizza joint over in a town by the beach. And if anybody from Seaford is listening, it's Nicola's Pizza. But he saved up his meager pay at the time and bought me an Xbox
Oh.
360. And that was outside of like my old PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo consoles. That was like the first console that I had that was actually just mine. And we went to GameStop because we had slash have, I think it's still there in our town. And I
Uh,
got two games.
editor's note, 2006, it looks like.
Yep, that sounds about right. Sounds about right. We went to GameStop, got two games. Those two games were Bioshock and Fallout 3, the Game of the Year edition.
Hmm.
And he was like, Are you sure you want to play this Bioshock game? And I was like, Yeah, I'm sure. And it, if you will, it enraptured me.
Ah,
That was not planned. That was me just going off the cuff with that. But
so creative.
that game, I felt like it was such a fresh take. I wouldn't say it's a horror game. It's got a little survival aspect, but the plot twist is really what got me. I mean, it feels like you are trying to figure out what is going on in this underwater city and then come to find out you're in this huge massive mind fuck. And the Would You Kindly, I'm adjusting in my chair, sorry if you hear that. I
You're good.
sit like a little owl in this chair. I'm totally flattening it out. Neither here nor there. I I also at that time had never played a game where the consequences, like the choices matter and the choices have consequences. So when I realized too that you can get different playthroughs and depending on if you harvest the little sisters or if you save them. Now I'll tell you I only did one evil playthrough because that's not my style. I pretty much try to play as I would in real life. I don't have it in me to be totally evil. That game just caught me up to where when I was done playing it, I played it again and again and again. And then BioShock 2 came out, and at that point I was so into anything that Ken Levine had did. I was like, this man is a genius. Why are we not talking about this enough? I have some collectibles too actually in this room that I'm in now. Like the plasmids, and I have a songbird statue. I have a bunch of stuff, and my love for BioShock, even BioShock Infinite, which we talked about a little bit earlier, I think got a lot of criticism, which I think is unfair. I really enjoyed that game. I think it followed as well as it could in the footsteps, and I think the tie between Columbia and Rapture was just right. I ended up getting a Bioshock tattoo. I got the Songbird because I admit I cried. I don't want to spoil it, but I mean the game's kind of old now. The song
Yeah.
doesn't make it. The Songbird don't make it, and that was such a pivotal scene for me. I had the Songbird as my phone screensaver for years, years and years. I highly recommend that game if nobody has ever played it. If you're not put off by a few jump scares, I mean BioShock 1 and 2 definitely have a few. If you're not put off by that and you kind of appreciate a really atmospheric take and just keep an open mind, I think you will really, really appreciate it and understand how it influenced me to be the person that I am. But the other games that I would say too were so foundational in who I am is definitely Legend of Zelda. I got a Zelda tattoo as well. It's the Song of Healing. Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess are my favorite from that franchise. I like those darker themes. I mean, I think at this point from BioShock into the two darker Zeldas, like you see there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
I may or may not have been an emo kid when I was younger, and
May or may not.
it's not a phase. I never grew out of it. But
Okay.
Zelda 2 has such a deep hold on me from a Christmas when we got a Nintendo 64. For me, it was for the family, but we got Ocarina of Time with it, and it came with Star Wars, the pod racing game. We got a bunch of games at the time. I think
Yeah.
somebody in the family, either my mom or dad, got a Christmas bonus, and we got really spoiled. But I played that
Yeah.
game with my dad quite a bit, and I was like 6 years old when that game came out, so I wasn't really I like in full honesty, like I was not good. I wasn't good at the game.
Mhm.
So I needed help a lot of the time. Like with Bongo Bongo, with the damn water temple and Ocarina of Time. So
Mhm.
my dad and I would play it together and he would help me when I needed help. And so I look back on those times and I realize a lot of how my dad and I bonded a lot over the love for video games. My dad introduced me to Diablo and Blizzard games, and we would have LAN parties at the house, and I would was so young and I would play with his friends, and he and I would just play for hours, and then I started having nightmares after
I
playing
can't
Diablo, and
imagine why.
my mom was like, "No more, no more, you're not going to play that game anymore." And he continued to let me play it. So thanks, Dad, for that one. Yeah, so a lot of those games that are a little bit older, they were things that I was exposed to when I
Yeah.
was growing up, and I also still feel like I'm growing up, if we're being honest. I
Yeah.
don't have it
No.
all together.
Who does?
Not me.
Not
Not
me.
me. That's for sure. I would be remiss to not plug the Super Giant games as well. Once I continue to play console games, throughout my whole life, and the computer games, like the PC games that I played, were kind of limited to like the Diablos, like the RuneScapes, things of that nature. But I got a gaming laptop, not the one from before, the one that we thought was going to explode, but the one prior to that, that I started playing like Bastion and Transistor and got exposed to like the more indie games. And I don't think Supergiant necessarily is indie anymore because Hades as a game really really took off. I think the others are, I like them better than Hades. I think it's good, but I I just really started to get more exposure into other titles and even shorter games like Journey and things that were maybe not like skill. They didn't require skill. They were just telling a story. And I started to appreciate games like that too. And so
Yeah.
while growing up, feeling like I had myself, my books, my pets, and my immediate family, I did start to feel a sense of belonging in stories that games told as well, or they're telling a story of something that like I would aspire to have like an adventure or to see the world or to tell, make choices like the Telltale games.
Yeah, I think, I mean, especially young, it's so easy to want to go and dive into a story, right? Like somewhere else. Like we want to use our imagination, and here's a game that's allowing that you don't even have to use your imagination in of itself. Like it's leading you through the fantasy that you would probably make anyway.
Yes, and it's so fun, and I think like there's definitely a parallel between like my love for reading and my love for games because they kind of scratch the a similar point on my brain that are kind of parallel to each other. Like they're kind of in the same spot but on different sides. Where with reading, I feel like I'm imagining it, and with games, I feel very very immersed in it, and I now oh my goodness, there is a car alarm going off. I hope you can't hear it, but
No, no, you're good.
I really have started to enjoy playing some multiplayer games as well. I started playing Coral Island with my best friend Becca, and we both, as you know, we all live kind of busy lives, but it is nice to have something to decompress and do, and not magic always isn't the thing we do to decompress because as we talked about before the pod, and in telling my origin story, sometimes those games are not exactly relaxing. Sometimes they're complex, they drag on for hours, like you already worked a full day and it's like 9:30 p.m., you haven't eaten dinner and the game is has no end in sight. So, I love to have options, I guess.
Yeah. But I think that's fair too. Like pretty much the only games I play are sports games or fighting games, and that's because they're very finite. I I finished a couple fights in Mortal Kombat. I'm done. I don't have to worry about a story. I don't have anything I have to remember for next time other than the buttons that I need to press when I play the game. Same thing for FIFA or EA Sports is what they call them so now, FC or basketball. Like it's not anything I have to remember other than how to play the game, not actual storyline and involvement.
On that note too, I never knew that there was an actual like character story and development with the Mortal Kombat characters.
Really?
Yeah, because I never really played fighting games like that. I think I played Mortal Kombat 10 maybe. Like
Okay.
I knew that they existed. I had seen other people play them. I
You didn't know there's a continuity, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, like I didn't know that there was actual substance behind the characters. I think
Yeah.
that's really what I'm trying to convey is I thought they just were gonna you select the fighter and it has like a little blurb or something about who they are, but I never knew that there was legitimate story behind them. And then one of my rabbit holes actually was looking into that, and I hyper fixated on Melina.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I did. I
I
did.
did. It makes sense for so many reasons. A,
I
you're more of a horror character lover from everything I can tell. Whether or not you want to call BioShock a horror, like you lean toward the spooky horror type stuff.
I do like a little vibe, but I also have to say like some of the horror games like Silent Hill 2 at the top of the list. I those aren't games I can just sit there and play for hours because they legitimately do disturb me and
Oh
scare
yeah.
me.
Oh yeah.
I have to like Dakota came in here, I was trying a demo and he was like, "Oh, you're playing a scary game? You gotta turn the lights down. You gotta have the" I'm like, "No, I don't want the
No.
lights down. It's already scary." Like I don't need
Yeah.
anything else in here. But then when you finish it, I guess it is kind of satisfying, but you were like, that was kind of a terrible experience. Like I feel mentally, physically, emotionally, and actually disturbed.
Yeah. And at least with Melina, you get the aspects of it without the actual like I mean, depending on how you feel about the fatalities and things like that, which you don't have to do, which is nice, but you get the horror aspect without the actual like playing a scary game or watching a scary movie.
Yeah,
What
those
else? I'll say what else
go ahead.
about Melina? Sorry, go ahead.
Melina. Yeah, I think what prompted it too is I had seen like a YouTube video or something, and the Melina was like scantily clad in like bandage straps, and I was like, this is Mortal Kombat. Like, why doesn't she have any clothes on? She's how is she gonna defend herself? Of course, like, that's where my mind goes is like, how
Yeah.
that's not armor, but I think
You go
that's
to
a thing
practicality. Yes.
in 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 video games is like the male armor is like pauldrons and chainmail, and the female armor is like you get a bikini and two strings of floss and you're
Yeah.
good. That's level 100 defense. You're solid.
No problem. Everything's good.
Yeah, I don't know what well that I do know. That is what happened. So I was like, who is this character? I went to the comments, I looked it up and I was like, I've never seen this person before. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, she wears like the purple. I have seen her before. And then I started looking up the backstory and I was like, oh, it's kind of tragic. Like that is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is a very sad story.
And yeah, I
She's
guess
a
that's
community favorite too. So like, yeah, you're not alone in that.
that makes sense. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
could see why.
Yeah. From the it's because of the backstory, not because of the other stuff you mentioned.
Of course, of course.
Because Mortal Kombat people have not been ever weird about any of that kind of stuff ever. Ever.
Every fandom has it. I think it exists. Even the most innocuous things end up getting you cross the wrong street on Reddit and then suddenly you're in enemy territory. I mean, to someone else, maybe that's friendly territory. To me, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm in enemy territory. I don't need to see my favorite childhood characters looking like that. It's a bit much for
Yeah.
me, but
Yeah. Yeah. If it exists, it can be kind of thing. Yeah.
yes.
It makes that makes a lot of yeah. It is everywhere. But that aside, like to your original point, it is much harder as an adult to get deep into the games like you want to. Even a game of Magic, the fact that it can take an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what bracket you're playing, is like, man, I've already had a super long day.
I've definitely been there more times than I can count. I definitely have over the years learned when I need to like say, "Hey, I'm not going to be playing any games tonight. Like I'm really really tired." I think that's kind of part of growing up is learning to recognize the signs in yourself when you're really not feeling it, and then so you don't force yourself to do it. But on the same side of the coin, like there are situations where sometimes if you're finding yourself becoming a hermit, which I told you about these
Mhm.
tendencies that I have, then I do need kind of a strong nudge to say like, "Hey, get out of that funk, like start socializing again." Because you're gonna start regressing otherwise. But you're totally right. I mean, there are some times where I'm like, I don't I'm not feeling playing Magic today. I think I just want to like watch trash TV or
Yeah.
read my book and just sit in silence cuz I'm very much a completionist, I guess, and if the game is running long, like I don't want to scoop just because I'm tired and I want to go home. I will ask somebody to mercy kill me, like
Yeah.
take me out so I can go out with my dignity, I guess. But I get tired.
Yeah.
I'm an old lady.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like we only have so much batteries and things like that. But you do have to strike that balance between saving your energy and not wanting to overextend yourself, but also not excluding others or isolating yourself from others to the point where like you just disappear.
Yeah, it's always about that balance, right? Like I think that's something that people always will say like it's about the balance, but it really is, but nobody can help you find that without you
Yeah.
kind of adopting it yourself and taking charge, which for me I will like actually schedule things in my phone like today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to do that. That's something that I've worked with my therapist about is like trying to implement more self-care into my weekly routine because we all get in this rut of saying like I don't need to do this, it's not a necessity, which for me recently was like wanting to take a bath. And to be entirely clear, I bathe, I shower, but taking a bath is entirely different
Yeah.
because you're just kind of sitting there and then I need to like shower after that, so I'm using double the water. So I would tell myself like, why am I going to waste the water? I live in California, man, the rent's expensive, the food's expensive, everything's expensive. Why am I going to do that? And I started doing it. I started doing it anyway, like once a week, and it's great. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in a human hot pot, like adding ingredients to the soup broth, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny, that's not the first time I've heard that analogy before, but it's also true because you need to take care of yourself. You are important. Your health is important. Your mental health is important. Your physical health, your emotional health. Those are all very important things. And like obviously like you talked about for your example, everything's already expensive there, but that doesn't change that you need there's certain things that are going to help you not feel even more drained at the end of the day, or will help you recharge, helping you recharge a little more so you can do the other things that you want to or need to do.
Exactly. And you are definitely one of the contributors that helps keep me centered and grounded some of the times that we have talked and I have been freaking out about X, Y, and Z, and you have always just approached it like a very, very calm and centering person that I feel when there's chaos about that your presence and your advice is very, very grounding, and it does help keep things in perspective for me where I'm like, what was I doing before I had everybody? Because I think I was just on a solo playthrough of life, just chancing it, like drive fast, take chances, like John Wick or something.
You killed your dog?
They better not. I mean,
I hope not.
I would go John Wick if something happened to my cats.
I mean,
For legal
and
purposes, I have to say that's a joke.
yeah, this is all a joke, but I stand with John Wick.
It's a great movie though, like
Yeah, it's a really good movie. All yeah, I
all
agree.
of them.
But yeah, it's I same because you do the same for me. Like how many times have I texted you just absolutely I like practically bawling my eyes out because I don't know how to act and I don't know well, the mental the RSD, right? Like the like we talked about earlier
Hmm.
where we um uh, no answer, the omission of response, it almost feels worse than anything because it allows me to run rampant in my mind of what it could be.
Yeah.
Um, and you've been a really amazing part of trying to help me through that and being there in those moments and being rational, even when you're busy and you have things going on and you have your own life to worry about too.
I think for me, I try to give myself some grace, which I'm learning to do that. I'm a very, very hard critic on myself, and I've always abided by this philosophy that nobody can hurt my feelings more than I can hurt my own feelings. And that it's not healthy to do that, but I try to remember that it's all of our first time living, like as far as we know, unless anybody can have confirmed that they've been reincarnated, but it's all our first time living and we all have these different life experiences, and without having friends and people to talk to and just bounce ideas off of, whether they're positive things or like I have an idea, I would make content like this, what do you think about this, whether it's positive or if it's like I'm really struggling, this is my situation. I feel like all of our perspectives, so long as it's a safe place to do so, because we all have our safe humans that we turn to in these situations, like
Yeah.
that really lends to broadening your scope and your vision. And sometimes sometimes even I've gotten feedback and perspective that I was like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I wanted you to say like I wasn't wrong. But
Yeah.
I think that too is a part of having real friends, is just feeling comfortable enough to be honest about things and trying to not steer people wrong, or at least saying like, hey, this is what I would do, or maybe have you thought about it like this? Those are all super valuable, and that's something that I never really had a ton of. So now that I do, like with you, I mean, it's you can't put a price on that. It does cause me to reflect quite a bit and think what was I doing before this? But I'm incredibly grateful all the time to have it.
Yeah, and I am too, because you've been a very I think you will continue to be a very big part of my life. And so before I start crying, I'm very thankful for you.
So I'm a reactive crier too. If you
Yeah.
start, I'll start. And then
Yeah,
Jason's gonna be like, "All right, cut the show, cut the show. They're bawling, just cut the show."
right? We're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. We're good. We're good. Until I start crying here shortly. Anyway, no, no, no. But truly, this is one of the things I'm super thankful for is being able to be honest and truthful and raw. I try to be that way as it comes to my content, but it's different when you're talking to someone that you know is not judging you, but is truly listening and understands and wants to help you through those situations.
Absolutely. And more on your content, I think everybody can agree with me, but your content alone, like your your creators that you love series, my gosh, like that it's just some really wholesome thing that I think this hobby, the community, and just the world needs, because I think something that you do outside of just singing the praises of your friends and the people that you like and why other people should like them too is that there's a million things going on in the world that are inherently negative and terrible, and it's oftentimes a crazy world that we live in, but to find positivity and to put positivity out in the world when sometimes your own stuff feels like it's on fire is really just a testament to your character and how much that you care. And I do believe that the vibe that you put out will continue to bring in good people.
This this is Rachel made sure she could jam this in here as best as she could because before when we talked about this podcast, she said, you should talk about yourself more." So what did she do? She took an advantage of it and decided to talk about me instead when this is about her.
It's about us. How about that?
Fair, it's about us. You it's very kind of you. I am really happy doing this stuff. It's been hard finding my niche, for lack of a better term, and I feel like this is even more niche than like the niche of magic itself, right? Like there's the niche of magic, and then there's the niche of like, should I talk about cards? Should I open packs? Should I talk about rulings? Like, and shout out to all those people who do all those things because they do a fantastic job. Should I stream? Whatever. And I am over here like, let me go to like the nichiest of niche where I'm like, I talk about the creators in Magic and want to make sure that they know that they're doing a fantastic job because, as you know, that's who I am. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not, and supporting other people and trying to put them as high as they should be, as opposed to how high they think they are, is what brings me the most joy.
And I have to be honest, I did not know my mom was gonna see that video where
Yeah.
you graciously highlighted me, and I was entirely flattered and may have cried, maybe not. Jury's still out on that one, but my mom even saw it, and I think for me, I have had like this dichotomy of feeling like maybe I should keep like the Rachel and Exile separate from the Rachel. And so when like my mom sees this kind of stuff, I'm like, "Oh my god, she wasn't meant to see this kind of thing." But she ended up talking to me about it, and she I think your reach in doing these things really goes further than you think, because not only has it influenced me, like my own family sees the way that others see me and sees the way that you see me, and it's it's several degrees removed, and it's if we drew this out all on a map, I think like the ripple effect would go so wide. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a wild moment when your mom saw it. I will admit she was not one that she's not one that I thought would see that. And I'm happy of all the things that she's seen of mine. I'm glad she's seen that because she should know how amazing of a daughter she has. Because you really are an amazing person.
Oh my god. She definitely she likes to see me happy, and there were so many times, I get probably in the last decade, where she would ask me like, "Have you made any new friends?" And I would say, "No, mom, I haven't, cuz for the longest of time all I had was Becca, and that was my one friend, and I was like, I'm good, I'm done." And my one single friend from high school that I've kept in contact with. Shout out to Tyler Sparrow. But I say, no, I don't have any new friends. And so she's seen this incredible growth from me, and not to toot my own horn at all. It's a lot of emotional growth, I think, over like everything else. But I got to finally close the loop on that a whole decade later and said, well, actually, I have made new friends, and it's just like a really gratifying thing for me. And I wish, I think we look back and wish that we had done stuff like this earlier and that we had met sooner, and wonder how much different would things be if we had met and I had what I have now. And then you realize, like, well, all of that bad stuff, traumatic stuff, it led us here, and if anything was different, maybe it wouldn't have shaken out the way that it is now. So it's very much a better late than never thing for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's super easy to want to look back and be like, "Oh, how different things could have been." But I wasn't me, and you weren't you, as we are today, as the time we met, when we previously wish we would have met. You know, we were very different people. Like I, I went through hell and dragged myself out. You went through hell and dragged yourself out. And who knows if while we were trying to drag ourselves out of hell, if we would have been people who would have meshed as well as we do now.
It's so true. And I think too, when we realized, like, hey, we weren't even that far from each other when I was stationed at Wright Pat. And then I think back on that, and I was really going through a tough time then, and I was so
Yeah.
reclusive, and I just, I couldn't even like think straight at that point. I was so in survival mode. I mean, and I was in that mindset for so long. That's all of our lore too. I mean, at some point
Yeah.
we have to dive deep into that. That's Now is not the time. We'd be on here
Yeah,
all day, but
that's gonna be like a paywall type situation because there's so much stuff, and I don't really drink right now because of health situations, but I might need a drink for that conversation. So that's
you and me both. I'm a hydro homie. I just drink water.
yeah. But for as tough as those conversations might be, a little something on the side might not be too bad just to take the sting away. Drink
Yeah,
responsibly. Drink
of
responsibly.
course. A little DoorDash, not too much, maybe.
Not 3 restaurants full of food or full of drinks.
That's right.
Don't order 19 margaritas or whatever, just chill. It's okay. You don't have to do that. No, I definitely think we should do that at some point. And I usually say this at the end, but you already know you're welcome back anytime. So obviously we'll do something again. And I have a few questions before we finish off though. Related questions because this is allegedly a magic podcast somewhere along the way. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Answer the best of your ability. I can give examples too. No worries. What is your favorite card of all time?
Oh, you know what? That's one that I wasn't entirely prepared for. I definitely have a few, but
You can name a few. Yeah.
off the rip, I will say Bria Riptide Rogue. That is the card that I have like my custom proxy for. That was the first commander deck that I really built by myself. That
I have
wasn't a
a signed
pre-con.
version of.
You do, yes, and I've got plenty of them. I ordered too many. I guess I thought I was famous or something. So if anybody wants one, you can have one.
You'll have them for when you're a creator for one of the Magic Cons.
Oh, we're speaking it into existence.
Yeah.
I don't want to say counter spell because that's
Yeah,
a
you
little
do.
too mean,
Yeah, you
but
do.
I usually do have blue in most of my decks, and everybody hates a counter spell until we need a response. So,
Exactly.
but I will go with Bria. I really fell in love with Izzet because of Bria and Spellslinger through that, and the otters. spellslinger prowess, everything that really encapsulated who I am.
Perfect. I think that's a great answer, and I think that's an accurate answer too, because like you said, you made the token of yourself for Bria. So very, very fair answer. Do you have a current or all-time favorite deck that you've played?
The natural answer, or at least what everybody would think, it should be Bria, right? It should
I was gonna.
be.
I know what the answer. I know what I think the answer actually should be, and
I
Bria was
think
not the answer.
I think you might know. So my best performing deck is Teysa. That deck has almost got me divorced like 16 times. Dakota Dakota does not even shy away from telling people like, and I think he commented that on the video. I think he commented that about, oh,
Hmm.
she'll blow up your commander 6 times and then you can't afford the casting cost.
Yeah, in this economy,
In this economy, we can't afford 16 CMC, buddy.
yeah, that's not happening anymore.
So I think Teysa is definitely my favorite deck. My underdog deck right now though is Clive, and
Hmm.
that one holds a good sentimental value for me because you helped me with that deck.
Aw, you're so sweet. You keep trying to gas me up, and it's working. Thank you.
Good.
Your Clive deck is super fun. I haven't gotten to play against it, but just looking at the list after you were like, I think I got it. I was like, this is awesome. So I agree with that. Side note, I do you have you ever watched Death Battle before? Have you heard of it?
I haven't. I
I have to
haven't.
send I have to send you the most recent one. They had one with Clive in it recently.
Oh my god.
And he went
Yes, send
against
it to me.
Dante from Devil May Cry. So I don't want to spoil it. I'll let you watch it.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. And shout out Death Battle. They probably will never listen to this, but I really enjoy Death Battle. Not a sponsor, just an amazing series to watch. Yeah. What is the card that you think doesn't matter color or artifact, whatever, but what card do you think you play most often?
Oh,
I'll tell you for me, my most often played card colorless is Elixir of Immortality because I don't I bought a lot of them and they're very useful to make sure that your graveyard is safe. And for color abundance, I just really like abundance a lot because anytime something says draw a card and I can say I have too many lands, I'll go get something that's not a land or vice versa. I think that's a really good way to get around it.
so like a card that I end up playing the most,
Sure.
like that comes out the
Yeah.
most?
Yeah.
Koku Show.
Really?
Yes. I don't
Really?
know why.
That's crazy.
I don't I mean, like another answer is probably like Island or something, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
land.
Besides lands, yeah.
Oddly, yes, Kokusho ends up coming out. Kokusho and Daddy Yogg, because I play that Teysa deck pretty often. I still need to play through some of the updates that I made from Edge of Eternities, but Kokusho, yeah, those two always end up coming out. I don't know why.
Oh, May would probably go really well in there from Avatar. Thinking about that.
Oh, yeah, I still gotta look at all the card list and assemble my wants and needs.
Yeah, we'll have to get on a separate call and just like chat about that stuff because I mean, I just for everyone and who hasn't by the time this comes out, the our Avatar breakdown with Jason Vulgar Druid will be out. Shout out to them. They're both amazing people. Love them. My two favorite characters from the show are May and Judy, and I think Judy would go really well in that deck too. So we can talk about that another time though.
Those are some unexpected.
I know I'm weird. I also like Daria growing up, so
There you go. Okay.
yeah, like everyone else like Beavis and Butthead, and I like Daria. So yeah, I
Okay,
don't
I
know.
understand.
Yeah, that's me. That's me in a nutshell, I guess. Okay, what is a card you think people should play more often? People should put in their decks more. I will tell you
That's hard to say.
for me, I think I'm actually going to steal Jason Ashcraft's answer and say Cycle Lands. I think Cycle Lands are something people should play more often because MDFCs are good. If it has a front side that says it's a creature, the backside's land, or front side's destroy something, backside's a land, why shouldn't you have a card it's a land or you can draw a card?
This is true. That's a hard one to answer. Since it's definitely like influenced by my own personal play style. I think
Allow it to, yeah, do it.
One thing I think that was imparted on me was using the talismans as
Okay.
opposed to like the lockets. And after that, I started using them more. But I don't know.
I think the
That one
talisman's
is hard.
fair. I will say I don't play the talisman as much as I probably should as an experienced player, but that's because I'm hesitant to have anything that I need to that isn't directly a land that I need to base my life to gain color for. Like I'll play like a brush land or something, but playing a talisman feels odd to me.
I mean,
Um,
you're probably better at deck building than I am. Another like underdog answer
I
objectively, I would say more people should just play with proxies if it's cost prohibited and they want to learn how to play this game.
I love that. I think that's also a great answer. I started going to a shop with Keegs and Lil. They'll be on here at some point.
I love
And
them. Big
I know,
fans.
big fan of them. They're fantastic. Check them out. But someone was playing with it was a deck made out of that was literally just like sheets of paper cut up with it was no bigger than I don't know like a matchbox each card, like the face of a matchbox, and the whole deck was that, and all the cards were printed out on them, and it was amazing because they got to play their deck, they got to see if it worked, they got to see like does is this good, is it viable without spending all the money to figure that out.
Right. And I wish that was something that I had done earlier because there's been a few times that I've built absolute stinker decks that did not do what
Same.
I thought they were going to do, and then I spent the money trying to assemble the deck in paper before really testing it out. And
Yep.
I mean, the proxy debate is definitely a can of worms, but I will ardently and vehemently support that if it is cost prohibited and somebody wants to play this game, as long as they're not trying to build some type of diabolical pub stomper deck and they secretly actually do know how to play, they're just an asshole, then yeah, let people proxy things. I think I'm about to proxy a deck myself to test it out.
Oh yeah. Don't be an asshole, people. Remember that. Don't be an asshole. This is a game. It's for fun. You're not getting paid to play. And if you are getting paid to play, then don't pub stomp people.
If you're getting paid to play, share the wealth.
Hell yeah, that too.
Some of us are struggling.
Yeah, hell yeah. What is actually we'll get back to my final question, but you said you had some wishes earlier for
I
wizards or
do.
from wizards.
I do. My biggest wish is I would like to go to a Magic Con as a creator, and my second wish is I would like to at some point someday be an ambassador for them. And I think my approach is slightly different in that I am in a military environment and I am a veteran. So I try to reach and touch base with people off of our shared experiences and being able to relate. And WotC, as far as I know, still does have it, but they do support deployed troops and will send them like care packages with cards and decks and things for people to play. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic. I think those are two very reasonable, very attainable things for you because I think that you do a really good job. I think that you are a person who would very greatly benefit WotC as an ambassador or a creator for MagicCon, especially because you're already at the MagicCons and you already know so many of these people. So like going
Oh
over there and
shucks.
actually doing the thing is like it's light work. It's light work.
I would
Uh,
love to.
That'd be awesome. I would absolutely love that for you. I think that would be fantastic, and I hope it happens. So if anyone were to ask, if someone from Watsi asks some one of you, who do you want to be? It's Rachel. Tell them Rachel.
Oh gosh. Bring all of us up. Let them pick.
I say that hit a soft spot apparently, which good.
It did.
You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve all the good things. Okay, and I have one more question, kind of a multi-part question, but other than what we've just talked about, what are some hopes that you have for the future of Magic, for the future of your content, and or for the future of the community as a whole?
For Magic, I hope that one, we slow down on the set releases so
Mhm.
that we can immerse ourselves in the cards and not feel like we have to jump from one thing to the next. And I also hope that we continue to get new players into the game and, that we create, and this kind of ties into the community. I hope that we create and continue to create a community that brings in the kids like us that didn't have a ton growing up and didn't have fit in with the popular kids. I hope that we create an inviting place, a safe space for kids to grow up and immerse themselves in nerdy things because this game is cool. Video games are cool. We're cool.
Yeah, we
Like
are.
we're really cool. We're hella cool. I love to see that. I like to see people get interested in the game, and I have had somebody at work like say like, "Hey, do you think you could teach me how to play?" And I was about to like jump to the moon when I
That's
heard that.
amazing.
And when my cousin Kelsey had asked me about learning how to play Magic, I immediately sent her the Bumbleflower deck, and I got a deck box and I sleeved it, and I was like, "I will set you up for success."
You
Cuz I
set her up to
think
be the villain, apparently, because that's what Bumblebee.
she's so cute. Yeah, you're right though. You're right though. We love a little group hug moment until we
Mhm.
don't.
Group choke.
Yes. So I that's my hope that Wizards continues to give us what we need to grow ourselves and make this place safe for all the weird kids, the weird adults, the people that like TCGs and like video games and would find solace in doing these things over doing anything else. And even the people that like we have some people in the community that are like into jujitsu. Like this hobby really just expands out into all types of people, and I love that, and I want to
Yeah.
see that continue.
Yeah. Shout out Joe the Magic Gatherer, because that's the one I think of when I think of
Uh,
jujitsu.
Me too. That's the one I had in mind.
Mhm.
Yes. Amen. And Coop MTG with
Coop. Yep.
his workout and his healthy lifestyle and his radio voice. Shout out to Coop. Love him. Big
Yeah.
fan. For the community, I mean, just to echo what I said, I mean, I want to see us all continue to grow. I want to see us thrive and make connections and make friends and make meaningful friendships and to feel like we all have a place to belong. And I think we all have a role in doing that. It's not like whoever owns the Discord is in charge of setting the vibe. It's on all of us to be that
Yeah.
kind of person.
Yeah.
For my content, I actually would say I want to invest some more time into it, more time than I have given to it in the last few months. Partly like things out of my control. I could not have, anticipated the government was going to be shut down. The vacation, a lot of things went on the back burner when I was kind of struggling at work, and I want to center myself and get back into it where I'm feeling it again, and I'm not feeling like, oh, this is a chore for me. So I I'm ready to get back into the saddle with it, and I want to do all of the things that I have just tried to charge everybody else with, like be
Mhm.
a good person, hold space for others, try to foster community in like the marginalized demographics, and do what I can, what is in my power to be a good person and be
You
funny.
are you are a good person, and you're very funny. You're very, very funny. I that you don't have to worry about. Like, if you were any funnier, then like, leave some room for the rest of us. Okay, we're trying over here. We're dying to be
Dakota
a
tells me don't
quarter.
quit my day job.
Oh, yeah, but the spousal stuff. He's supposed to say that,
Yeah, you're right.
right? Like and then you go hit the comedy club, and then all of a sudden you're touring the world. So I believe in you. But Rachel, thank you so much for being here. This I love talking to you. You already know that, and this was a treat for me, and I hope it was a treat for everyone else because you're an amazing person who definitely deserves to have a light shown on them.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much for having me. And thank you to everyone for listening and for our lovely editor in chief for trying to make something feasible and viable out of my rambling. So I apologize in advance, but it is absolutely an honor to be here. It's an honor to be your friend. It's an honor to
Mm.
be a guest on this show, and I thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. But before I sign off here, is there anything you want to plug?
I don't know.
Go follow.
Go watch Avatar if you haven't seen Avatar, and go play BioShock. Play all of those video games. And everybody, if this is the first episode you've ever heard of this show, follow this show. And then I would say give everybody that is hosted on the show a follow and be a part of this community and spread love and kindness.
You're so nice. You're so kind. And just to make sure that everyone does follow Rachel, go follow Rachel, Rachel in Exile, MTG on TikTok, Rachel in Exile on Instagram. Those are the only two that you have right now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Make sure you go follow Rachel because she's fantastic. She's kind. And I'm gonna sign us off before I start crying, and then our editor in chief has to cut that out. But Rachel, again, thank you so much, and everyone, thank you for joining us today. Just remember, when despair tries to win, counter with hope. Have a good one.